Okay. Can y'all hear me now? Okay. Can y'all hear me now? Okay, I can hear myself now. Okay, hold on. Let me turn this down. Okay, I can hear. Okay, sorry about that. So I'm turning this down so I'm not here. So I'm a back up because I didn't know my sound was working. The first thing I said is we're going to talk about us paying attention to what's happening around the globe and particularly what's happening in Africa. That's what I said. Pay attention to the world, and then I have in parentheses Africa. Now, let me just be honest. This little piece I'm gonna say to y'all today, this is not for people who we may share some skin color or whatever, who maybe appear to look like they're black or descendant of a slave person, whatever, and they say they're Native American. Well, this is not for you. So you can excuse yourself because this is not for you. None of this is for you. This is for people who are who have always fought for the liberation and the freedom of black people, African descendants here in America. I belong to those people who were brought here as enslaved people from Africa. That's my lineage. I know it. And I don't need nobody else to tell me who I am. I've been walking on this planet 51 years, and I absolutely know my history going back further than most people. And it's not some made up history. And my ancestors absolutely loved themselves. So they weren't like people who didn't love themselves. However, let me get to the point in hand. If we're watching Africa trying to free herself or trying to stand up, let me just say this, because freedom don't come like in a blip. Freedom is something you have to fight for and work at. And I think some of us don't understand that because we live in a country where we're constantly talking about being free. You know what I'm saying? We're constantly talking about being free, but we don't want to do the work it takes to be free. You know, can y'all really tell the powers that be who may be white that no, I'm not going to take any more of your welfare? That's brave as hell because some of y'all waiting on that check. You like, I'm going to collect cans and cut grass and babysit and do people's hair, and I'm not going to have to report to you how much I make. I'm going to free myself so I can live as a free, decent human being without telling you all the stuff that I do so you can tell me if I need to get your support. Can we do that in America? Can we really stop paying $1,000 for a hair weave? Can we really stop buying our kids expensive ass Jordans that they don't need and they don't? Most of them struggle with reading and writing, and they're not able to self-govern. Can we do that as Black people? Can we? That's how we can equate our struggle to the African struggle. When you stand up to world powers like France, and if y'all don't know, y'all better do some research. Y'all research everything else. You research Beyonce's tickets, every outfit she had on, every song she played. Y'all research shit that don't equate to anything. Research France and their whole history of colonization. Research France's history with Haiti. Research France's history with the Louisiana Purchase in America. Read about those things and tell me who France is and why we should be standing with those countries. Now, here's the kicker. We'll be the first to talk about we don't know if they can self-govern. Well, shit, like the white man ain't the best self-governance. He scares other Black people to self-governance with him on top. So I think we should let them have a chance to really be an independent country. You cannot be an independent country when you're still paying your colonizer. See, most of y'all don't even know that. Hey, Shanda, baby, most of y'all don't even know that. Y'all don't know that these people are still having to pay. Did y'all know that? That people are still paying for them to be free? They're still paying these people. So even though we talk about all of these West African countries in particular that earned their freedom in the late 60s or may think late 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever, they really weren't free because these people kept making them pay to this day to them. That's like you living in somebody's house and then they say, I'm going to give you the house back because it was yours anyway. And then I say, yeah, you can have the house, but you're going to have to pay me some money to live here, and anything you do in this house that generates money, you're going to have to pay me. If you find some oil under the ground, you're going to have to pay me. Come on, y'all. Let me put in another language y'all may understand. Say if you was a prostitute and then your pimp decided to let you be free with some restrictions. Like anytime you work a block that is deemed his, you have to pay a price. Now, mind you, this is your body. You're doing whatever you want to do with it. So whatever money you earn, why do you still have to pay the person who thought they was helping you in the first place, which they really wasn't? Right, Shanda, right. But I'm going to tell you, Shanda, I'm very shocked. Yeah, yeah. But that's because, Shanda, some Africans from the continent, just like some African Americans, they don't believe that Black people are capable of self-governance. I'll just tell it straight out. They believe more in the colonizer and their abilities. They do not see themselves like that. They do not think they're capable of self-governance. So they go, I know so many Africans that have 3 and 4 PhDs, and they're over here want to tell African Americans about what we should be doing when they should be going back to their country and freeing it. You ain't do shit with them 4 PhDs over here, but be used like a tool against the Black people who white people owe in this country. You should take them PhDs and go back to Nigeria, back to Ghana, back to Liberia, wherever you came from, and fight like hell to raise up your country. Because we don't really have no room for you over here if you're Black. See, if you notice all the other groups over here, they are self-governing. They're building up their homelands. They're sending stuff back to Chile, back to Mexico, Colombia, wherever they're from. Wherever they're from, they are self-governing right now. They are trying to help their country be a little bit more freer. So when they retire, they can just go home and build some big mansions, and they can all live there with all the money that they made in the United States. And I'm saying, so I have some African friends in a lot of different places. Like I have some here in the US. I also have some on the continent that I'm very close to. We talk a lot about politics. And we have hard conversations. I tell them about, we've always had freedom fighters here in the US, but we also had a lot of lazy ass, deep thinking, don't want to move type of people. Those are the worst kind. When you have people that they so damn deep, but if you ask them, what did you build? They would be like, what did I build? Like you say, you speak a lot about Africa. You never bring up Morocco Empire. No. I mean, which is technically North America or South America, the Moroccan Empire. So here's the thing, Michael. I'm from West Africa. Nothing wrong with it. I was with a man who was Jewish, but he was all over North Africa, and he helped the free Ethiopian Jews. So I talk about it when it's necessary, but I'm talking about what's in the news today, not something from a history book. Right now in Africa, like 6, 7 African countries has stood up against the U.S. government and France. Most of us can't even stand up to the police officer that stop us on the street. All we can do is pull out a camera and be like, don't beat me up. Don't beat me up. That's really all we can do over here. But I'm saying here are these African countries, and these are young cats. Like one dude is 35. And I'm like, damn. You know what I'm saying? So they're standing up, and they're able to use the help from Russia. Now, let me say this, because Black people are like, well, Russia is just a colonizer. First of all, Russia has never colonized anybody in Africa. That's a known fact. I talked to a lot of people researching the whole nine. Now, here's my thing. I'm a bit of a chess player. I'm a bit of a strategist. And my thing is, would I want to stay with the person who's been colonizing me for centuries, right? Or do I want to go with the white man I don't have really no history with? Because this one that been having me for years, this motherfucker think he owned me. Like, he will never let me go. So if I use this dude to get rid of this dude, then I'll probably be able to get rid of this dude. Now, let me say this about Russia. Russia is helping the Africans to train their armies and their militaries. They're helping them to build factories in their country. They're teaching them how to utilize their resources, and they're basically letting them know you really don't need the money from the U.S. or France. You have all the resources you need. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got to look at it like that. Here's a side. And my thing is, when you're dealing with white folks, you got to be a little crafty too. Y'all don't have enough power to fight France. I'm just saying, like, just us. We can't even do basic shit like stop supporting shit that come from France. We can't even do basic shit like that. But they seem like they're working the plan. And I feel like this. They may not have the plan in full effect. They may not have the best outcome or whatever. But God damn it, let them try. We act like black folks cannot self-govern. And I'm going to keep saying that because some of y'all are not self-governance type of people. Some of y'all rely on this system to do everything for you. Everything. And that's a problem, family. So listen, keep your eyes open. We are always last to the fight because if it's not a Beyonce problem, if it's not Lizzo, if it's not some goddamn distraction, because all of the Lizzo thing is real. Yes, it is. But if it's not something that's entertaining to us, it goes right over us. And then when shit jump off, we stand there like, what should we do? And we got to stop that, family. Like, for real, we got to stop being so goddamn late to the party. We're always so late. Jesus Christ. We are always late. We're always late. We are always asking what's going on. But if you ask us about who smacked who on Love and Hip Hop and who threw a mic in the audience after they got ice with you would know all the answers to that. But if somebody said, what's happening around the world? And what kind of opinion should I be having on this? We'll be like, see what the news say. And the news, they tell you what they want you to know. You don't have the news to learn to think. That's not why you have the news. Do y'all get that? The news dictates what they want you to know. So anyway, family, I just want to come to y'all real quick and say, please pay attention to the world and particularly Africa. And don't be afraid when people start standing up against their colonizer. Because who knows, maybe one day, see, I remember in the 60s and the 70s and parts of the 80s where people were standing up against their modern day colonizer or oppressor or whatever. There were people who were really trying, but then there were those black people try to make you feel like, oh no, you can't educate your own kid. They got to go to the white people's school. You can't, instead of being like, hey, you know, there's all kind of resources for you if you want to homeschool, but they can still get educated and then do tests and still get the certificate. I've known several people who did that and their kids finished high school when they was like 14 and then went on to college. One of them did, the other one didn't. She went to business. And I'm saying that's our battle. So as we're watching the world and we're watching Africa trying to get free, think about how you can get free in your mind. Think about what you can do to get free. And I know that's not easy, but some of the shit could be like, stop buying expensive weed from Chinese people or whoever, or the Indians. Think about how you can get free. As you pay attention to the world, look at yourself and say, how can I get free? What can I do to free myself here in America? Because we're so enslaved and ingrained into the system that if something happened to America and they was aiming for the white people, they're going to have to take us with them because some of us are so indebted to the system. Some of us have retired from this system. Some of us don't even know how to build another system next to that system. We did it before. We've done this several times, but that would take self-governance, and it would take accountability, and it would take, being really honest and being, I like watching movies like, I like a lot of kind of movies. Let me give you an example of self-governance and how other groups do it. There's this film called The Irishman with Danny, his name just flew right out of my head, but it has my dude who I really love from The Godfather in it, and he plays in a few movies like this. And one of the things that the Italians did when they first got here in 50s, 60s, or 40s, whatever, they immediately start self-governing. They immediately came up with their own system. So here's the thing. I don't want to hear that black folks know who we are. A lot of us always knew who we were. Even when the white people were attempting to erase us, the same way if your mama tells you something, you still create a system that rebels against the system that she's trying to establish for you, for your safety. You still will go out and join a gang and then follow their protocol. So that's not a good enough excuse anymore. You have to self-govern your life or you will not make it. You will be a casualty. And one thing about me, I have to be very honest. I am living behind enemy lines. If they did some shit right now where I live around a lot of white people, I would just have to say, well, that was my time. It was nothing personal to Londa. They didn't set out to kill a black woman. No. This is where I live. So, family, pay attention to the world. Watch the world. Watch what's going on in Africa. Don't be so judgmental. If you do anything else, try to put yourself in their shoes if you can. I know that's kind of hard because when you're not born a thinker, you can never put yourself in somebody else's shoes because you're always taught what to think, what to do. But I'm asking you to put yourself in their shoes and really look at it, not from the side of where you are. Like if you love America, don't look at it from America should be governing everybody because we know they do a horrible job with black people. They help every group but you, descendant of enslaved people. They help every group but your group, that lineage. They give everybody housing but us. They gave everybody money to get started when they came here. They didn't give us shit when we left slavery. They promised us some shit but never gave it to us. To this day, big ups to the Queen Henrietta Lacks. At least her family fought for her. That's like 130 years or some shit later. But at least her descendants are going to get something. Because how you use a woman's DNA and don't pay her goddamn family and y'all are making trillions and billions off this woman's gene cell. And you know that shit is crazy, y'all. So pay attention to the world. Pay attention to the world. None of us really understand colonialism, really. See, it's different when you in the country and then they kidnap you and bring you somewhere. But it's a different ball game when it's your house and then they colonize your ass in your house. That's very different. And then you have to figure out, well, which one can I really trust? Well, if one always treated you like you was a stepchild or whatever, and then the other one said, I could teach you how to strengthen your army. I could teach you how to build factories, and then you help get more money on your dollar and blah, 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 blah. And the other motherfucker is giving you 80-20, and 20 is you and 80 is them. But this motherfucker may give you 40-60. Which one do you go with? And not to mention they helping you strengthen your military and teaching you about growing your economy. That should be almost a no-brainer. But some of us are so beholden to this devil. We're so beholden to the wicked. All kind of things come out and we act like we don't see it because really we are some of us are co-conspirators with this devil. We're co-conspirators in democracy. We are co-conspirators. We are more down with democracy. That's the word, democracy. Than the people who basically tell us about democracy. If I had one more Negro telling me about the Democratic Party, I'm like, all niggas ain't doing that. Demon rule. You can go ahead and do that somewhere else. I'm not fucking with it. I'm gonna vote for whoever I want, whenever I want, and I ain't got to answer to nobody. So quit assuming that all black people are Democrats. Some of us ain't fucking with the Democrats. The Democrats keep telling black people to kiss their ass. And so I'm going to do just that. I'm going to put my ass up and have them kiss my ass, but I'm not going to vote for them. And I'm going to down talk them every chance I get. And I don't care. Most Negroes who before they got a job with the Democrats, they're thinking about their job. They're not thinking about the good things for your community. Last thing, I swear I'm going to get the fuck off here. There's been a message going around about killing black children. And they sent this to a black business that's a black library, if you will. And I guess the police investigated. This is what I was told. And they said it's not really a credible threat, but they know who sent it. And so some people are very upset about it. And some people say we should take it seriously. And then somebody said if they had sent that to a Jewish, about Jewish children, something would be done. And the answer to that is absolutely, because Jewish people are valuable to Jewish people. Do Jewish people kill each other up every day? I mean, no, for real, family. Are Jewish people self-governed? Okay. So let's talk about this black community in Sacramento. There is none. We don't have black communities. We don't have black leaders. We're not built like other communities. There is no black community. There are fragmented pieces of people who could belong to a group that have no standards. So in the black community, we have a lot of pedophiles and a lot of rapists and a lot of women who could condone misogyny, and they support men who are very brutal to their women and all kind of shit in the black community. Because they all kind of get together at, like, say, businesses, or a rapper come to town or whatever. Then you see black people galore. But if we have the PTA meeting, if we had anything to talk about the brilliancy of our kids and getting our kids the help that they need, it was going to be full of a bunch of Latinos and Hmong or whatever, and maybe about 4 or 5 black parents. But if a teacher slap a black child, we may all be up at the school protesting. But if that child said, I can't read, I can't write, it turns into crickets, because no one stands up and protests and say, let's make sure this young baby can read or write. So for me, that threat is like, if you've been black in America, you understand that threat. Unlike a lot of people, there's some parents who at their kids' school, they volunteer 3 days a week. There's some parents who pay attention to who their kids hang with and who's around the school. Y'all can't expect for these people who have no respect for you to protect your kids, but you won't protect your kid. All right, family. I'm about to get up off of here because I have other shit to do on this Friday evening. But I just had to say, watch the world. Watch the world. Because freedom, family, and freeing yourself or liberating yourself, or all that shit we talk about, it requires some action from you. The group that's so-called oppressing you, please don't expect for them to do nothing for you, because it is not their job. It's not their job. Why should they? Really, they don't even like you. So anyway, family, enjoy your Friday. Just pay attention to the world, pay attention to what's going on in Africa, and educate yourself.